Hi, it's Sandra here from Create in Spain. Do you want to do foiling on your cards, your artwork, your journal pages, whatever? You can see from some of the images here, you can do fancy stuff. You can do very simple stuff. This is actually photo paper that I've coloured a background on, and it's come out perfectly. See? I have this one here. I'll tell you a bit more about this one later on. This is the one that's in pink and silver. I don't know if you can tell the colour difference on camera, and it's come out perfectly. So there's a few little pointers that it's worthwhile going over. This one here, it's foiled it well. I mean, it's put foil on exactly where it should have put foil. It hasn't got anywhere else, which is one of the issues that I have if I ever try putting things through laminators. However, it's a little bit clumsy looking. That's not the fault of the foiling. It's not the fault of the glue pen that I've used to do it. It's the fault of the font being basically an outline font rather than a single line font. Now, this is the same font, but because it's bigger, you don't notice the fact that it's got the two lines. Whereas on the outside of this, you have perfectly drawn hearts and they're perfectly foiled as you'd expect. The inside, because it is like kind of squished together, because it is small, it's just a little bit clumsy. So if you want to do the very small items, then find yourself a single line font and use it, okay? But if you're going to go for the larger, more splashy things, which to be honest, most of us do on cards if we're going to foil, then it's fine. It's not usually a problem. But make sure you choose the right font. Things to be aware of. The glue pen I've used to do this is the Sakura Quickie glue pen. Now, what you want to consider, apart from the font that you're using or the pattern that you're using, is the paper or card that you're going to use it on. This is, I think it was from Aldi, it's a craft paper, so it's a relatively thick, fairly absorbent paper, but the glue pen will still work on it. This, I've got drawings on that side, that's not foil, that's drawing. This is quite an absorbent card, and the glue pen drew on it just fine, but it just sunk into the card. Now, I suspect that what I could have done is just gone over it again and it would have been fine because the glue would have sealed the card effectively. So then whatever I put on it afterwards would have actually foiled. I didn't bother, I just took it away and didn't bother. This is a smooth cardstock and it does give a very, very good result. And this is just normal printer paper that you would put in your printer, and that produces a really good result as well. I wouldn't recommend trying it on watercolour paper unless it's a smooth watercolour. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention are pen holders. Now, I went from the Silhouette Cameo to the Silver Bullet, and when I had the Cameo, I had a plastic pen holder, and it was fine until it eventually decided not to tighten up. And I think the reason for that is because the thread on the plastic holder isn't actually very substantial. It's a very fine thread. And eventually I think he just gave up and that was it, I couldn't tighten it. So eventually with my Silver Bullet, I got this type of pen holder. However, as with some other pen holders I have seen before, they have a particular problem when it comes to fairly thin pens. In that although you can get, if I take the lid off this one, although you can get a holder that will hold it, and this is the smallest one of my holders. I do that, and this is a difficult one because it's a hexagonal pen anyway. It doesn't actually put it into the center. It will be offset because, and you can see it more easily from the top, that screw is going to push it to one side. Now if you're just doing one layer of pen work, it's not going to make any difference. If you want to do 2 layers, however, it may well do. Now, as it happens, my friend Alison was with me last week and she wanted some pen holders because Alison didn't want to pay an arm, a leg, in fact an arm, a leg and a second arm, I think, to get one of this type of holders sent from the States. And she said, could you possibly design me a pen holder? So I did actually design her a whole set of pen holders, and they're individual ones for individual types of pens. And one of the ones that I designed for her was one, let's put it in the wrong end, for the Sakura pens. And the Sakura pens look like they are all the same width from top to bottom, but they're not. They are actually wider at the base than they are at the top. And so this is what I designed to slot into my holder, and my pen is upright in a perfect position, and that's that. So that one fits all the Sakura pens, so the jelly rolls, the glitter pens that they do, the metallics, the fluorescents, the etc. All the Sakura pens that I've got will fit this holder. The other holder was this one because it fits this hex pen somewhat beautifully. You can just slide it down like that. That is not going anywhere. Okay, this fits the pen, and it fits my grip in the machine perfectly because I made it to measure. If you wanted to do a more solid design, for example, if you wanted to do, say, a leaf, but you wanted that actually coloured in Sure Cuts A Lot, you have a line fill. Forgot to mention, the foils that I'm using for this are cheapo ones that I bought a couple of years ago. It cost me £3 for, I think it's 8 or 10 rolls of foil. I do not see anything wrong with the result. So there we go, that's it. How to foil very easily when you have your cutting machine set up to use a pen. Take care now, bye bye.